And we are now moving towards the end of our two-day program. It's an honor to be included on this last session to conclude our discussions. I would like to invite to join me George Wilson, whom you saw yesterday, who's head of English and school education at British Council, France. George will be guiding us in closing the session with a few key highlights that you can take home to your organizations so that we can move forward for multilingual education. Over to you.
So, hello everybody. My name is George Wilson, and I'm Head of English and School Education for the British Council in France. The British Council, as you may know, is the UK's international organisation for cultural relations and educational opportunities. We work in over 100 countries around the world, contributing to raising the quality of education in schools and supporting multilingual education. Our work emphasises the importance of carefully considered and balanced approaches to language in education. And we're honoured to be here today supporting International Mother Language Day. And I'm delighted to be here to be with you, Justine, to share some of the learning from the last couple of days. I'm delighted now, but yesterday, when I got home after a long day, I was thinking, this is quite daunting. Yes. There's a lot of learning that's been taking place. How to do justice to so many important messages, how to organize so many different ideas and recommendations as well. The time ticked by, got to about midnight, and I began to panic. And then suddenly, it came to me that the answer is actually, it was sitting on my desk. In fact, UNESCO has already organized our thoughts around this topic. It's provided areas that we can focus on to concentrate our efforts and our intentions in this area. I'm talking, of course, about the Languages Matter Global Guidance on Multilingual Education. So I'm going to use some of the areas identified in that guide to kind of summarize the conference. Let me take you through a few reflections that we've had over the last couple of days. So the first theme across all the panels and talks has really been the importance of evidence to the process of developing multilingual education. We've seen this in a range of different contexts. We've seen it in the context of Luxembourgish, and I've learned lots about how the different perceptions around Luxembourgish as a medium of education changed thanks to the research in this area. We've learned about the efforts to study language ecosystems in Kenyan refugee camps. And of course, the roundtables this afternoon have discussed the evidence and the data that show that mother tongue foundational learning sets learners up for success in the future. But research is not enough, and the speakers have focused on the importance of strengthening links between the research community and both policymakers and educational practitioners, so that practice and policy are directly informed by this evidence base. And that way we can challenge some of the harmful misconceptions, notably that multilingual education holds students back, when that couldn't be further from the case. We've also heard about the vital importance of collaboration and the sharing of best practice between different contexts. This conference is certainly one way of connecting people here in the room, people at home, and in their offices. But the importance of using the evidence base to engage language communities and parents can't be underestimated. Indeed, it's vital that multilingual education be seen as the advantage it is by the language communities themselves, by families. And not as a disadvantage. So it's really important that we focus on the cognitive, economic, and social benefits these are understood, and more importantly, that they're believed by different language communities. To help achieve all of this, of course, and as the Deputy Director General of UNESCO said this morning, it's important that multilingual education be at the heart of government policies around the world. This call has echoed around the conference, with speaker after speaker emphasizing the vital importance of public policy that recognizes and supports multilingual education. But, as Justine herself said this morning, the legal frameworks are not enough. These policies need to be translated into concrete, practical measures. So creating curricula and teaching and learning resources that reflect multilingual contexts and practices. This is essential. Because inevitably, at the heart of multilingual education is what actually happens in learning spaces. Which leads me to our next theme, curriculum, teaching, and learning materials. In this area, our speakers have emphasized the excitement, but also the trepidation around the rapid advance in AI and in other learning technologies. For many, these tools will help to widen access to learning and teaching materials, although some have voiced concerns about the fact that only 200 of the world's 8,324 languages are available online, and we've just heard that in the last roundtable as well. Particularly as we heard how current AI models struggle with African languages due to dialects and linguistic distances, as well as underrepresentation in the data sets themselves. Several speakers have therefore emphasized the importance of empowering local communities to develop their own digital solutions and content, ensuring that technologies reflect the needs and languages of the people they serve. Indeed, more widely, the panels have underlined the need for teaching and learning resources that are tailored to local contexts, so that they reflect indigenous knowledge and identities, not least because language is so linked to cultural knowledge, important knowledge, knowledge that often is held by women and can play an important role in tackling global issues such as climate change. Another central theme of our conference has been the recruitment and training of teachers. As the Deputy Director General for UNESCO said earlier today, it's not always obvious to teachers how to adopt multilingual practices within their learning spaces. And indeed, this is central to the work of the British Council around the world. Our speakers have emphasized how important such initial and ongoing professional development is, particularly in emergency situations and in post-conflict situations, where many teachers lack any formal teaching qualification. We've also heard about the importance of promoting diversity within the teaching teams in European countries, and of empowering teachers to make use of their own languages in their learning spaces. And the final theme that completes our circle, the importance of inclusion. UNESCO's guide recommends the creation of inclusive and welcoming educational spaces that enhance language development, cultural exchange, and the socio-emotional well-being of all learners. The president of the International Deaf Alliance has put this more simply during the conference, saying that it's vital for us to recognize and cherish all the languages of children, including, of course, the sign languages of each country. Speakers have also discussed the importance of indigenous languages and making sure that the education systems around them are not created for the community, but with the community, so that learners feel genuinely at ease within the learning environments they work in. So, the circle's complete. 6 areas of guidance, but at the heart of this whole process is the learner. Currently, 40% of learners in the world do not learn in a familiar language. And this has been shown time and time again to weaken learning outcomes. UNESCO, the British Council, and all of us here today have reaffirmed our commitment to supporting multilingual education. And we very much hope that the learning from the last couple of days will help us make progress towards that objective. An objective that is central to another goal that we all hold dear. Sustainable Development Goal 4, ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George, for taking on the daunting task and delivering it so brilliantly, but also to the British Council for being a partner with us over the last 2 days on this celebration, and looking forward to working further with you to take this work forward. You've made my last job actually incredibly easy, because I really have nothing more to say. But I still will say something. Just some final words of thanks for today's and yesterday's event. I would like, I feel very pleased. You never know how events will go forward. I am so pleased with the direction that our debates and discussions have gone over these last 2 days. And I would particularly like, although I don't believe they are here right now, but to thank the permanent delegation of Bangladesh for their cooperation on this day today and on every year since it has been established, and their ongoing support. And again, thank you to the British Council for their continuous support also to this topic and this partnership. Over the past sessions, we've really seen how multilingualism and multilingual education is not only important for learning, but it's a gateway really for societies, for cultural understanding, for safeguarding of cultural and linguistic diversity, for addressing themes like climate change, as you've mentioned also, George, economic growth, I've mentioned again. We've talked a lot about the challenges, about some of the promising and very best practices that are happening in different contexts. And I think we're really aiming for realizing this vision where linguistic diversity, language diversity, cultural diversity is really at the heart and soul of education systems around the world. I would like to offer my heartfelt thanks to all of the speakers, to the panelists, to those who have contributed to different sessions over the last 2 days. I would also like to thank you for your commitment to helping us finalize the guide and now to take it forward. A special thanks to our interpreters, without whom we would not have this conference in so many different languages and be able to communicate it in so many different ways. So sincere thanks to you. Thanks also, as always, to our colleagues, technical colleagues, who are able to make when the wheels keep turning across of these last 2 days. So sincere thanks to you. And I would like my team to please stand up if you're here in the room, all of you. Come on, please stand up. If you could please give, and maybe, hang on, before you stand up, a first round of applause for all of those that I've just mentioned, because we didn't thank them properly. Sorry for that. And now if I can ask my team to please, I'm sorry, I'm going to get all sentimental. Team, can you please now stand up? And if you could give them a round, like an astounding round of applause. Many of them are not in the room right now because they're still running around making things happen. So my sincere appreciation to all of you for this event, and obviously for the guide. I call on all of us to really carry forward this energy, help us gain some momentum as we move into 2030, bring this energy and commitment into classrooms, into your institutions, and into all of our communities. Our conversation does not end today. Let us please continue to share, to work together, and to enhance good practice around the world, because as we have heard over the last days, languages matter. Finally, I invite you to join us for the cultural part of the event, which begins at 6 p.m. So you'll have a chance to have a bit of a break. Come back into the room, you will hear music, the language of music, as I said earlier, again spoken, and many other different cultural performances. So it will take place from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight. We really hope you can join us. With that, my very sincere thanks, and languages matter. Happy birthday, International Mother Language Day.